somehow right. That's all time. That's all time.
Derek Jeter is top 3 shortstop.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're listening to this is Tanks and Tuddies, presented by Tubbs and Franke. Now listen, I'm facing you guys. I'm facing you, Franke. I did not want to do this episode. I thought about bailing so many times. I thought, how can I get out of this? I almost actually had to bail, like unintentionally. Work's been crazy. But yeah, I initially Saturday night, I was like, I'm not fucking recording an episode. There's no fucking way. But I'm here. I'm here to face the music, to talk, give you guys kind of an insight into how my weekend / past few days have been. Not good. But we're gonna talk. So we're gonna speed through everything to get through that, because that's gonna be a long conversation. You're not gonna see me yell and scream. I don't have the energy for it. And you know, when you have a good team like that, there's no point in yelling and screaming. It's just depression at this point. Expectations were high. I don't think my expectations on this podcast were high. I think I was excited. I think I just kept saying I'm excited. But in my mind, expectations were sky high. So let's get into it. Dynasty update. We have not played. We won't for a while. So I might not even bring it up in the future. But there will be a day where we get back to it when things settle down with our new jobs here. But for now, ain't going to be playing for a second. I haven't even touched a controller in 2 weeks. It's the longest period in years. Yeah, so before we get into it, Franke mentioned he's a little sick, so forgive him for his sounding.
It's my flu.
I feel like my voice sounds odd. I'm not sure why that is. I was really sick. So quickly over the weekend, Friday night, we went and did karaoke at the bowling alley near my parents' house. That was fun. I was on the road Friday doing deliveries, and I stopped and got McDonald's. And then later that night, all my McDonald's came up. It wasn't from drinking. So we were at the karaoke. I had 1 vodka Red Bull to wake up, because I got up at 5 a.m. No big deal. And then I ate some wings. And while I was eating the wings, I'm like, man, these are just bad. So I was like, I had a driver and everything. Sid drove. So I was like, I'm just going to get shit canned. So I went and bought a shot. We did a shot. I ordered 1 more drink, and I didn't touch that last drink. I couldn't even touch it. And then my mom looked at me. She goes, "You're looking green." And I said, "Yeah, I don't feel good." I did a song. I sang very well. For those that know, Stone Sour Through Glass. I got some surprise that was actually okay. Like, nobody said it was good. I think my mom said it was good, but that doesn't count. But it was okay, because that was my first ever solo karaoke performance. I've always done them with you or with others. So yeah, I was nervous, but it was fun. But yeah, I ended up puking in the parking lot, and then puking again in the parking lot. And then I told Sid, I was like, just get me home. I was supposed to go to her house. I haven't seen her in God knows how long, because she went on vacation. I was sick 2 weeks ago. I had, what was that one? I don't remember. I think, super sore throat, but I didn't want to get her sick. She was going on her trip. So anyways, we got almost home. We were literally 1 street away from my neighborhood, and I was like, pull over, puked. And I was like, just go. Down the road, puked again. Got home, tried to pull trig in the bathroom, nothing left. And then grabbed a bucket, went to bed, woke up about 2 hours later, and then the rest came up. So yeah, Saturday I felt so shitty. I slept all day, literally off and on all day for hours. Sid came over, and she kept her distance. I thought I was feeling better, tried to convince myself it was food poisoning, and then just never got better. It was so bad. Like, I was supposed to go to my parents' house to watch the game with my dad. I didn't. I stayed home, watched alone, which was probably bad for my mental health. But we were texting, and I think we called. But I took a nap at halftime. That's how bad this was. But I'm going to go ahead and blame myself for this one, because I wasn't 100%. The team couldn't play 100%. We're not going to talk details. We'll get into that. But yeah, and then Sunday I woke up. I felt better. I had a lot to do. I got it all done. And then Monday I was 100%. So definitely just some food poisoning or something. But anyways, that's beside the point. Did you want to talk about your illness, or do you want to just go?
No, I mean, I think mine is just a chest cold coming through. Paige kind of had it. Now I kind of had it. As you can tell, I sound more manly today. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I feel fine other than the never ending cough that seems to go on. But
Mm-hmm.
I work at home, so I'm pretty isolated from the world. Don't have to give it to anybody. And I can pretty much narrow down my one person that gave it to me as Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will say the puking in the parking lot. I did that at my last job one time. I left sick for the day, threw up in the parking lot. It's rough. It is
Dude,
rough.
it's and I had Sid pull over to the side of the building where nobody could see me, and I ended up pulling trig. It wasn't going to come up on its own without a panic pullover, so I was like, let me just get this out and we'll get home, because it was like a 25-minute drive home. So but yeah, really really unfortunate. What was I going to say? Oh, my big fear was I just worked a 60-hour week last week on my feet all day talking to people. I'm like, I cannot be sick. I'm not going to be able to do it, and I don't want to call in, my second week.
Yeah.
So I got very lucky to wake up 100% on Monday. I bowled last night, had a couple beers, so the boy's back. But unfortunately, it happened on the Lions game day. But I am into superstitions, but I'm also like, what happened was going to happen eventually, let alone this game. And I'm kind of glad I wasn't with my dad and brother, because we probably would have. When the Lions / Michigan don't play well, we always end up attacking each other. So I'm almost glad I wasn't over there. So, but let's get into the episode. I'm going to fly through my locks and long shots. We're 2 weeks into doing these, and I'm about to give up. It's insane. So last week, Lions spread, Commanders, they lost. Texans plus 8.5 versus the Chiefs. This was unfortunate. We had a glimmer of hope with the self-inflicted safety for the Chiefs to go up 3. Some people ended up winning because they got to 9.5 before kick, but not me. So that's another loss. So 0-8 on the locks to start the year. Not good. And we're going into the period where I do worst when there's no football. Football is where I usually save my record. So to start down 8 is not good. So this year is going to be a battle to get back to 500. Tune in each week to see if I do it. This week, though, just both the games. I'm just picking a spread. I'm taking both the dogs. Commanders plus 6 at the Eagles. You got to hope the Lions just ran into a buzzsaw and the Commanders are going to somehow go all the way, and Jaden Daniels is, the next Lamar that can actually win playoff games. Their defense just isn't good, but the Eagles' offense doesn't impress me. 6 is a lot for a conference championship, so we'll ride the Commanders here. And then Bills plus 1.5 at the Chiefs. I said it last week. This is the year. The Chiefs are not making the Super Bowl. I'll tell you what. If the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, what's a I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch it, because I got a buddy that does a party we go every year, so I'm not going to not go to that. But
you could just say, if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, you'll put an unreasonably unsafe gamble on the Chiefs.
No, better yet, if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, I will put an unreasonable, unsafe, don't tell your mom you made this bet wager on the opposing team. That will be my pinnacle. The Chiefs aren't doing it this year. So that wouldn't be the Commanders. I'm not going to say money line. I am going to say, if it's a dog, I'm taking the spread. Okay. But if it's the Eagles and they're a dog, I would probably take the money line.
So I saw this, I think it was yesterday. Have you heard of the Cousins curse?
No.
I'm trying to find it right now. I believe it's the Kirk Cousins curse. I think it's any team that has beaten Kirk Cousins in the regular season has not gone on to win the Super Bowl in the same season.
Okay. And the Eagles lost to Kirk Cousins.
Or maybe it's if they lose to Kirk Cousins. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it. I saw it on Twitter yesterday. Okay.
Well, if you find it, let me know. By the way, I forgot I was going to open the show with some bitching, but then I got into the depressed. This is a sad episode. 2 things I got to vent about. 1, I hate winter. I'm so sick of it. I had to shovel my driveway. It took me so long, and then it's negative 12 out here. With it, the feels like it's negative 12. We got 4 inches last night. Roads are straight ice.
I think we're in the 20s. I think we're in the 20s, which is
That's
really
still,
fucking cold
that's
for
not
us.
that's not that much better. So for that feels like -12 for you guys. But I shoveled my driveway. I came inside. I had snot filling up my little bitty mustache here. I had just like my lips are on fire. I am so sick of my lips being on fire because they're just wind burnt and cold. And my new job, I'm in and out of the warehouse all day. So I'm in the cold, I'm in the warm. It's not good for my body. I think that I've been sick twice now. One was before this job, that doesn't count. But this, like, how did I get sick back to back? I think I was sick twice in 3 weeks. Both quick ones. Or no, one lasted for a week because I started the new job. I was popping Dayquil all day just to get through it. But anyways, so that's one, and then two. I need to get more sleep because these Mountain Dews, I don't want judgment for drinking them, but I need them. I got home, I was so tired. I was like, if I want to have any energy for this episode, I need a Mountain Dew. So I grabbed it on the way. And they're 2 for $5. It's easy. So now I'm getting 2 of them. And then, you know how bad this is for me? I'm so sick of drinking these, but I don't want any judgment. I'm going to get better sleep eventually. But it's just all the stress and all the thinking. I've been averaging like 5-6 hours a night, and it is not good.
You should just do like a healthy energy drink, like the Ghost Energies or the Alani Energies.
Oh, the ghost that's killing people?
Haven't seen that.
There was
I
a
got 3 in my
lawsuit
fridge right now, so
there was some kid that drinks like 4 or 5 a day. He died. He had a stroke, but that doesn't really count. No, I
found
drink
my
a Monster
stat,
in
by
the
way.
morning. What'd you say?
So I found my stat, by the way, or the curse.
Oh, let's hear it.
No
I got my
team-
bitching done, so let's hear it.
No team has ever lost to Kirk Cousins and made the Super Bowl in the same season. So last year, the Packers and the Niners both lost to Kirk Cousins. So that means it came down to the. Wait, no, that didn't add up.
The Niners went to the Super Bowl though.
Okay, so then it's if you lose to Kirk Cousins in the regular season, you don't win the Super Bowl. And
That
the
makes
Eagles.
sense. Did the Chiefs lose to him?
I'm gonna go look at the Falcons' schedule right now. I don't think so.
Why is your
The Chiefs
connection
wouldn't have
so
played them.
lagged up? Yeah, no, I think the Eagles lost to him though. That's well known. Did the Commanders lose to him? Did they even play him? They probably did.
Commanders beat them.
Okay.
Eagles
So
lost to
Commanders come in
them.
the Super Bowl.
Chiefs beat them.
Okay.
And
I don't think the
that's all
Bills
we
played.
got. Bills did not play
Okay.
them.
Interesting. Something to watch. Something to watch. Let's get going because I'm honestly I'm very eager to talk about the Lions. So, long shots 1 and 2. Brian Branch, Defensive Player of the Year. We can go and close that, but I'm not going to yet. Last week, Texans money line that lost. Rams money line that lost. I'm doing the same thing this week. Commanders money line plus 230. Bills money line plus 105. Just taking the dogs that I took in the locks. Hopefully, one of them wins outright. Most importantly, hopefully it's the Bills. There will probably be a big wager on them for myself. So, your locks and long shots.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you just wanted to try and win one here eventually, but we'll give that till next
Working
week, I
on it.
guess. My locks, I'm 4 and 2. Last week we had the Lions Commanders over 55.5. Pretty sure they almost hit
So
us
easy.
alone in the second quarter. We had the Rams plus 12 and under 50.5. The 6-point teaser, it teased me. It did hit, but it finished at a total of 50, so it got real tight. Butthole was
Oh
clenched.
shit! Yeah.
Bills Ravens first quarter over 9.5, finished 7-7, so we hit that. Went 3-0 last week. Pretty nice. This week we're going Atlanta Drive Golf Club money line tonight in the TGL. Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, and Billy Horschel.
I still haven't watched this, by the way. I need to
You're
watch
missing
it.
out. Granted, I guess the last 2 weeks have been blowouts. I don't know if
Okay.
this week's going to be a blowout or not. I like who the Atlanta Drive Golf Club has, but also the New York Golf Club is all right. I guess they did get killed the first matchup, but it's whatever. I'm just putting my trust in JT, Justin Thomas, and who was the other one that I said?
Look at
Patrick
that! I just
Cantlay.
fixed my
Yeah.
camera. I was like, why am I so
Patrick
low?
Cantlay has a shot clock, so he can't
I
be slow.
totally wasn't listening to who you said. Okay.
Sorry, you're cutting out too. So yeah, Atlanta Drive Golf Club money line minus 145 tonight. And then we're going to go Eagles Commanders over 47.5. This is strictly, I'm sticking to the Commanders overs until they're out of it. Their offense is electric, and that's all there is to it. So, long shots still open. Chiefs Super Bowl winner plus 350, looking better and better by the week. And then we had the Chiefs Super Bowl future plus Ohio State college football winner parlay at plus 671. Yes, I am a sick fuck, but we have one leg down. This is going to be a great spot to hedge with the Chiefs future. I'm going to have so much fun hedging if the Chiefs win this week. So, and then we also had the Kelsey and D Hop to combine for 300 plus receiving yards in the postseason at plus 500. Kelsey is pretty much on track to get this alone. He got 117 last week all by himself. D Hop put up a big 0. So thanks, Kelsey. I also said I put real money on this. I swore that I did. I've checked everywhere and I cannot find this. So apparently I did not actually put real money on this, and I'm very upset.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we had Wisconsin basketball money line versus Ohio State parlayed with the LA Golf Club money line. LA Golf Club won 12-1. They absolutely killed Tiger and Jupiter. And then Wisconsin won 70-68. Real tight game against OSU, but it was at home. I told Jake there was no way we would lose at home. So that's a dub there.
Well, I believe I did.
This week I'm going to follow Jake.
I did call
I'm
out.
going to take
tight. I've been watching a lot of Ohio State.
Yep, you did. This week I'm going to take the Bills money line and Commanders money line as well. This is just for fun. I haven't done any investigating into these games. I think the Commanders offense is awesome. I would like to not have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, even though I do have a future on them. So that's what we're going with.
How far behind am I from you talking?
It's only, I get like leg spikes. It's not that bad.
All right.
I can tell my computer definitely needs to get an update and restart. And I tried to restart it before we started, and apparently the updates did not install, so that's why I'm running into issues.
Gotcha. Well, we'll just deal with it. Let's start with the college football playoff final. Ohio State wins it all. Boring game. Really boring game. I did enjoy that it started at 7:30. I'm a big fan of the get these games out of the way so I can go to bed at 10 o'clock. Love that. Well, actually last night, I think that game went to like 11, but that's better than the midnight. Ohio State won. Kind of knew they were going to with how good they've looked since Michigan beat them. So, yeah, Michigan beat the national champs. Crazy to say that. I mean, you win a national championship, but you lose to your biggest rival, the biggest rivalry in college football. You lose as a 20-point favorite. That just shows how mental midget Ryan Day is. Crazy. I'm not going to sit here and dwell on it. Michigan had a shit year. They won it all. They deserve it, too. They won so many games. The Twitter fights with our national championship is better because we won more games to get there. We blew teams out. Michigan blew teams out as well. Well, no. Bama was close. The Washington game was pretty steadily. We won it. But Notre Dame, they did fight. It was the last 4 minutes there. It was like, holy shit, are they going to do this? And then we both had Ohio State spreads. So we were like, are you kidding me? And then like it sucked it was Ohio State because I didn't even really celebrate it. But that pass to Jeremiah Smith for us to get the cover was kind of awesome. But like I said,
we unloaded
on
that game.
We did. It was my biggest wager I've placed in months, and it hit. So we'll take it. I kind of laid back a little bit end of NFL's regular season to bet the playoffs and the college football playoff, and I think I told you guys I had a winning weekend last weekend, so I was like, I'm gonna go big. I should have just taken the over, like I said I was going to in our group chat prior. I mean, that shit cashed easy. It cashed early, too. 3 minutes left in the third, so I guess not that early. But big game for Judkins. Will Howard made some plays. Jeremiah Smith with the catch of the year to ice it. Yeah, that's all I've got. I hate this fucking team. But they won it, and the Big Ten runs the world. That's about all there is to say there.
Yeah, I was watching for the first half, I think. And then, honestly, after the first drive, that super, super long, drawn-out drive that Notre Dame had, I thought for sure we were going to have a tight game.
Yeah.
And
they made it.
Honestly,
they did everything they wanted, too, on that drive.
Yeah. I almost sent a text in our group chat saying, well, it was fun. Our bet's dead.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Were gonna control the clock like that?
Yeah, I held out hope. And then the second quarter was just the entire game got flipped on its head. Ohio State ran away with it, 21-0 in the second quarter. And at half, I honestly was like, all right, this game's over. Switched on to, I think Paige and I were watching Yellowstone last night then. And then you had texted and said, just got home. Why is this a game? And I was like, what the fuck am I missing? So I turned it back on and I was like, all right, like it's I think at that point it was a 14-point game or something like that. Notre Dame was about to score.
It was 31 to
7-point
15,
game.
and Notre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 31-15. Notre Dame was about to score again, and then they settled for a field goal. Then they doinked it, so we were like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah. Pretty much once they doinked the field goal, I was like, "All right, it's over. We're good." And then Notre Dame decided to score again on a 30-yard pass, which I kind of wish I would have seen that because I was not watching at that point. And then that was about the time where I was like, "All right, I got to put this back on." Watch the end of it. Yeah, that 50 whatever yard pass to Jeremiah Smith, though, probably the most I'll ever cheer for Ohio State. And it was just a let's fucking go. We're back. And then that was it. Kicked field goal. They won. I don't know. I think the expanded playoff as a whole was a win.
It just needs
but
a couple tweaks.
This game was just not it. And I don't know if it was just because Ohio State was playing so well that everyone was like, yep, this is it. Ohio State's going to fucking kill them. Or if it was the fact that it was just Ohio State, Notre Dame. Meh.
Yeah. The new playoff's great. More games are always great. But you need tweaks in the seating for sure. And then I think it gave you a chance for upsets. Arizona State almost did it, And then Texas, Ohio State was a good game. It just scoreline doesn't really show you that. But I'd say it was a W overall. I'd say run it back and just change the seating if you can.
Yeah. I wouldn't change anything too major. I'm not against expanding it even more, but at that point, then are you going to water it down too much, and are the first round games just really not going to mean anything at that point?
I think 12 is going to be our perfect spot because if you, like you said, you add any more, you're going to get but who would have been in? And you would have had South Carolina in there. Bama would have been in there. Bama looked like shit when they played Michigan, though. But then, are you going to get a Coastal Carolina in who gets blown out, and then it's like, why the hell did we put them in? Or
so this year, if
a
you
team like Ole Miss, if they would have got rolled, who knows?
Yeah, so this year, if you would have expanded to 16 teams and got rid of the byes, we would have added Ole Miss, BYU, Bama, and wait. This is the AP. I'm not looking at the AP. I want to see the college football rankings.
You probably would have added Bama for sure. They were first out.
Now, Iowa State, I think. Bama, Ole Miss, BYU, Iowa State, I think, are the four teams.
Iowa State would have gotten rolled.
Yeah.
BYU would have gotten maybe not rolled. They had that game with Arizona State. That was fun to watch. But yeah, no, I say keep it the way it is. Except for the seating. Just change the seating.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it.
You got anything else on that topic, or do we move on? If it was anybody but Ohio State, I'd talk about this a lot more. But I just hate that fucking team and that rat Ryan Day.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
Jeremiah Smith.
Quinn Ewers, props to him. He could be the first. I think he should be the first quarterback off the board, but he's probably not going to be. He's just a real solid, fundamental quarterback, and I think he's going to be really good in the NFL.
His career is going to go one of two ways. He is going to be absolute shite from the start, or he's just going to be your serviceable. He's going to be your. Let me see if I can find the comparison in my head. He's not going to be great. No, you know what? I changed my mind. He is either going to be just absolute shit from the jump, or it's going to be like, holy shit, how did this guy fall to this team? The Lions late. And then it's gonna be like, dude, this guy's talent. Oh my god! And
So
I can't
would
think of a comparison
you?
there.
Well, so I was thinking like a ceiling of like Brock Purdy
See, I would not
with
want
like a
Brock
little
Purdy.
bit. Well, yeah, but like okay, that was just the first
Give me
thought.
a ceiling of give me a ceiling of
Maybe like a CJ Stroud.
No, I don't. He's weird. He's had some really good games and some really shite games. Give me a ceiling of like a Herbert, but take out. Give me a ceiling of Herbert, but the Twitter Herbert ceiling that people always drum up. Like we haven't really seen it.
Where he's like the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah,
but,
like
you just
he's
don't
so
see it.
much untapped potential. And then
Floor
give
of
me a
Daniel Jones.
floor. Yeah, that's the perfect comparison. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played big schools. He's played big games. He's had great games. He was, had a crazy game against what's it called? Arizona State. He played great. He threw some fucking dimes. He just got, I think it was the unfortunate circumstance of having a 5-star Manning behind him, So
I'm
let's
very
talk
excited
football,
to
though. I'm
see
ready to
Arch
go.
next season.
Or NFL. Yeah, that's going to be really fun to see.
I
Arch
guarantee you
versus
he's a
Bryce
one and done
Underwood
now.
in the playoff is going to go crazy. I'm
Billy
so
Edwards
excited.
too, yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited because the pieces we're giving this guy, it's just is he going to be ready, or is he going to have to go out there, make mistakes? We go 9-3 and then make a decent bowl. Like, it's one of two ways. So we'll see. But let's talk NFL. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. I'm ready to get my thoughts out there.
Everyone's been waiting for.
We're going to do this in 2 phases. 3 phases. We're going to do an overall. Here's where my mind was, and here's, how the days went. And then we're going to do a deep dive into the game itself. And then we're going to do phase 3. The final phase is going to be Monday and on when the big news came out. And then kind of the end of that will be the current/future projections. So I'm going to cap this conversation at 20 minutes, depending on if it's going great. So at about the 46, 47 mark on our timer here, Frankie. And we'll see if I stick to that. It might be less than that. Who knows? So let's start with the overall. Here's how the days went, right? Saturday night, post game. Horrible. Depression. Props to me. I didn't read group chats. I didn't read any of your messages. I didn't read any of Javi's messages. I didn't go on Twitter. I didn't do anything. I shut my phone up, possibly because I was sick. That might factor into it. But I plugged in my phone and I laid there. I stared at my ceiling for probably, first of all, I watched the post game up until the point where somebody started shitting on Jared Goff and he's not the answer. And it was this, I forget who it was. But at that point, I wasn't ready to hear that or do that. So that's when I shut it off and I stared at my ceiling and I went to bed. I think Sid called me. So we talked for a little bit, but just depression. I did in fact cry. I'm man enough to admit I cried Saturday night. It wasn't like my parent just died.
Yeah.
It was just, slow tears rolling down. And it was almost like angry tears too. Like, come the fuck on. When is this going to change? And it was brief. It was just, but it's the first time I cried. I didn't cry last year. Last year was a little bit of rage, but also just depression. So then Sunday, we get to Sunday. Sunday, I had such a busy day. And I did go to my parents. So I talked to my dad for a while. It was still sad, but it wasn't depression. You're a passionate sports fan when you got your mom checking in on you, by the way. Saturday night, I received a text. Do I have to worry about you tonight? I said, absolutely not. I said, I'm going straight to bed. I don't feel good. And she said, good. And then, Sunday I went over to my parents. Shout out to my dad, by the way. I was sick on Saturday and I was supposed to do new headlights. Both my headlights went out while my truck was in the shop. That's a whole nother thing. I forgot to even bring that up really quick. My front right tire has been flat for weeks. Every day I have to fill the fucker up, right? So I was like, let me take this in. Hopefully it's just a patch. The back left was doing the same, but it was slower. Took it to Bell Tire. they call me up. Hey, you got a screw in your right tire. You'll need a new tire. Your other tires are new enough and in good shape to where we can get you one tire, which apparently they don't normally do. I had to sign some waiver. I was like, whatever. Back left tire was just a patch. They did that for free. And then when I took my truck there, both my headlights were working. I'm like, okay. And then I get the price. It was $350 for one tire. This was, I think, Friday I picked it up. $350 for one tire, right? So I get home. I think I showered, got ready to go to karaoke, and then I booted up my truck, and then both the headlights aren't working. I'm like, are you serious? So those dumbasses left the lights on the whole time. And here's the thing. They tried to tell me, oh, yeah, you need one of your headlights is out. We can replace that. I'm like, I heard $350, and I'm like, let me nickel and dime this. I'm not paying $350 for one tire. So I'm like, oh, take the headlight off. I'll do that. I told him I had the headlight. I didn't. But I'm like, it's a $15 part. I'll put it in myself. Turns out It wasn't a $15 part, by the way. But anyways, where was I going? I got scatterbrained. Oh, yeah. It took off $30. So it was $380. That was $350. And I'm like, how is this $350, man? And he goes, well, you got the $55 tire protection guarantee. And I'm like, I don't want that. I'm getting a new set next year. I don't want to have one brand new tire and 3 partially used. I'm getting brand new tires next year. Then I found out 21-year-old Tubbs wanted the cool, fresh Colorado with the blacked out look. Turns out you got the highest end of tire there ever was in the world. So I had to pay $300 fucking dollars for this tire. And then because of this waiver thing I had to sign, I had to get the tire protection plan. So $350 for one tire. I'm like, I should just have him do the damn headlight. So anyways,
literally
get home. Those fuckers left it running or the lights on. So then both of them died out. And so then anyways, so I told my dad and I was like, hey, let's do this Sunday or Saturday. I was supposed to go over there to watch the game, do the headlights, right? He finds out he finds out I'm sick. So he's like, hey, I'll pick up your truck. I'll leave you my car if you have to go anywhere. Just pick it up on Sunday. So shout out to Papa Tubbs. He did it for me. It was like, dude, it was like $50 for freaking headlights. And then I had two taillights, 2 running taillights or something that had to be replaced. But anyways, so that's beside the point. But just a shitty weekend, right? I dropped, $450, $500 on car parts. Anyways, so then Sunday went over there, thanked him, did the whole thing. We talked. It was still fresh, so we didn't really talk much. So then Sunday night, started to get better, started hopping back on Twitter. Still never went back and read any of those texts. I don't think I ever will because it wouldn't ruin our friendship, but I think it would stir some shit up. And I don't. So Franke did send an apology to myself and my father. He said none of that was directed to you guys because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you thought I was feeling some type of way because I literally didn't send a text to you in the group chat, to you in the other group chat, or to you personally. So I think you thought I was feeling type of way, but it truly was. I didn't read any of it, so I didn't even know. And
I'm not going to lie. I definitely thought that you were just that pissed off that you didn't say a single thing because I was like, granted, I knew that like you were hurt and like you weren't going to say anything. But also at the same time, I was pretty fucking ruthless with my texts that were going on in that group chat.
Yeah.
And I let full emotion get the best of me and went full toxic anti-Lions on this entire group chat of Lions fans. So I thought for sure Jake was going to be hurt a little bit. So I'm glad you haven't read those. And if you're not going to, that's probably the safest for our friendship.
I honestly, if I did read them, our friendship wouldn't be in jeopardy because I know who you're targeting with those in that group chat. And the text solidified that with you saying, you guys are actually all right Lions fans. You're pretty humble, which is, I feel like it's true. I didn't come on here and say, fucking best team in the league. I was honest. I said, I think we got the best offense in the league, but I'm pretty, I think the pain of all the years has grounded me. But anyway, so never read those. The text was nice. I asked my dad, I was like, how bad was it? He goes, it was pretty bad. And I was like,
I will. So there's 2 things I will tell you. I did send this banner that I custom made.
I saw the banner on your Snapchat
Lions fans. It says first round bye 2024. And then I did send one long message Sunday morning, just basically saying that I hope Lions fans were humbled and that you're not all bad, but there are some bad eggs, and how I rooted for the Lions last year, but this year a lot of the fans became unsufferable, and I hope that they remember where they came from. Basically saying, you guys haven't won anything. So until you get there, act like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big one.
So we're good. We're good. The podcast is still going.
We're here.
I don't plan on reading any of it because it'll not even just for like I'm afraid it's going to affect us. It's just truly I don't want to stir up those feelings of Saturday night again. I'm trying to avoid it. When I see it on Twitter, I scroll past it. So, anyways, so Sunday was kind of the turnaround. Talked to my dad. Got a couple things out, but it was fresh. And then Monday morning, I was doing really well. I was like, all right, it was a fun season. The fact that we won all those games with all those injuries, sure. And then I kind of shifted into this mindset of hopefully Jaden Daniels goes down as holy shit. How did this guy, not go number one overall? And we look back and, not even 5 years, say in 3 years, we look back and go, damn, what a tough draw for the Lions that year. That's my hope. That was my hope Monday. And then that news came out that we're going to get to here in a little bit. And then I kind of stepped towards the ledge a little bit more and got a little pissed off and some conspiracies started in my head. And that's when I returned to the group chat with you guys, was after I got out of work and saw the news. That's when I made my return and kind of gave you my thoughts. So
we should mention this. Jake literally did not text in our group chat for like 3 days.
Yep.
So all of Saturday, all of Sunday, late Monday.
Monday, I think it was like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, I think was the first text. That's what I when I would have got out of work. So, and that was with the Lions coordinator leaving news. We'll get to that. Yeah. So it wasn't Sunday. There was nothing I wanted to say. I don't even think I opened the group chat. At one point, I had 145 unread texts between the two group chats. I have another group chat with some work guys. There was 2 group chats, actually, that you were firing off in, and then some other people that I didn't really want to talk to. Yeah, so then Monday, I just clicked them. I didn't even open the group chats. I marked them unread, and then marked them read, and then when that news hit, I saw a notification. I saw you guys had texted. I was like, all right, I'll go read it. And it was a good conversation. I got my thoughts out there. So now let's go into the game. We'll do the game thoughts. So Jahmyr Gibbs is fucking great. He's a great asset to have. That game was torture. It from the jump, it felt like it. I said it on the podcast. I think I said, I'm not going to say after the first half if we're down, I'm not going to panic because I think we're going to start slow. We started slow, 3 and out after getting the kickoff out of bounds. We bounced back. We toyed with them. Goff threw a bad pick 6. He did get hit in the head. Should have been a penalty, but to be real, they would have just taken more time off the clock and scored, and we wouldn't have been able to drive down the field at the end of the first half there. So 2 sides to every story. That pick at the end of the half, that's where I was really like, fuck. Now we're down 10. Let me pull up the box score, make sure I'm saying this right. No, we were down 14 at half. That's right. We were down 14 at half, and it was looking like, okay, go get a touchdown. And it's like, worst case, it's a field goal. You're down 10. 10 feels manageable. The Commanders get the ball. You get 1 stop. You score. Now you're down 3. And that's exactly what we did out of the half. We got the stop. We went down. We scored a touchdown. So then when we scored that touchdown to cut it to 7, I was like, this is great. This is where we can turn the corner. But still in the back of my mind, I'm like, fuck, man. That end of the half there. And then, yeah, I mean, Goff just had a horrible performance. 3 picks, the JMO play. Goff had the fumble in the red zone. That game was winnable. It was winnable. Mm-hmm. You left. I broke it down with my dad. The pick 6 there where he had Laporta open for an easy 5-6 yard gain. That's instead of the pick 6. There's 7 off the board. Who knows what happens the rest of that drive? We don't know. The end of the half, call that 3. There's 10 points. Then you've got the fumble in the red zone. Call that 3. That's 13. All of a sudden we lose by 1. Some things swing our way. Now, granted, Goff played a perfect game. Unlikely, yes. Has it happened? Yeah, he played a lot of perfect games this year. And I was talking to my dad. Jared Goff does this thing where he doesn't have, a turnover here or there in a few games. When he has a turnover, it's many. And Tom Brady said on the broadcast, and it made me mad, but he's so right. When Jared Goff's first read isn't there, he gets jittery in the pocket, his feet start dancing, and he panics. And then, where was I going with this? Oh, no. Oh, so for example, the Bucs game, 2 picks, we lose. The Texans game, 5 turnovers, 5 picks. They somehow won that fucking game. Defense went stupid. The defense isn't there now to go stupid like that. We don't have the guys. And then this game, I think, the Bills game, we didn't turn it over. That one was just the defense is really bad and Josh Allen's amazing. But this game, 4 turnovers by Goff, the one by J-Mo. It's hard / almost impossible to win a game with 5 turnovers, especially in the playoffs, versus somebody like Jaden Daniels who went out there and absolutely demolished us. And then Amik Robertson snapping his arm on the first or second play on defense. There goes your guy that just locked up Justin Jefferson. And look at the receivers. They were open all night. We had no pass rush whatsoever. And even if there was a pass rush, Jaden Daniels would have got loose and done the thing Josh Allen did to us. So I think it was either going to happen here or the Eagles game, but the defense just wasn't there. I'm not going to sit here and blame injuries, but I will say it's the biggest what if of my lifetime with how good this team could have been if they had just a few less injuries. I'm not going to say all 18 because no team ever stays perfectly healthy throughout the year. But I did this with my dad. I said, if you give me back Amik Robertson, Carlton Davis, Aleem McNeil, we'll leave Hutchinson out of it, and then Rodrigo maybe. There's 4 out of the 7 starters you lost throughout the year. I think that game is entirely different, you know? And then, what was I going to say? But yeah, I think it was 18 defensive players on IR. It was 6 starters. And then there was 4 of those starters backups were also on IR. So just an all-time bad injury year. Fire every trainer that's ever worked on the staff, bring in a whole new crew. And hopefully we're healthy next year. I'm not going to blame injuries. It's football. They happen, but just some bad luck. And in my head, I'm like, what could have been if we just had a little bit more luck on the injury train? Oh, also the Amik Robertson, friendly fire, Jack Campbell, second one of the year. He did it to, it was either Rodrigo or Anzalone. I can't remember which one, but he hit him. And it's like, I get it, man. You're aggressive. You're chasing down the tackles. But that dude was going down. Robertson had him locked up. You lead in with your shoulder, and you fucking snap his arm. He had 2 elbows. Like, what the hell was that?
It was bad, yeah.
And then I always love those. No, sorry. I don't love those injuries. But I love the after when Schefter has to tweet, Amik Robertson is questionable to return with an elbow injury. It's like, did you see that, man?
You think? Yeah.
He grew an elbow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was hindsight 2020, obviously, but it feels like this game was going to happen eventually. It hurts more than last year because last year you won your first playoff game, then you won your second, and then it's like, hey, the sky's the limit. And then the conference championship obviously hurt. They were up. They were in control. But this one was, in my brain, I'd racked it up to this is the one. And, I knew Ben Johnson was going to leave. I knew Aaron Glenn's probably going to leave. So I'm like, it feels like it has to be now. But talking with my dad, we've got Brad Holmes, who in my eyes is one of the top 3, and obviously in my eyes, number 1, but top 3 GM in the league with what he's gained. Jared Goff still has great games. We just have to try to find a way to tell him to, hey, man, throw like 1 or 2 picks because you don't have a defense that's going to get you 1 or 2 back to cancel out the 4 turnovers you just had.
Yeah.
But I truly haven't been on social media enough to see what Lions fans are saying, but I'm sure there's people calling for Goff's head. Not yet.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of that. A lot of people are saying Goff is not the guy. They need to move on.
I mean, it's just
I was shocked.
What do you want him to do? Look at what the Packers had to do. They had to draft Jordan Love. He had to sit for 3 years.
He didn't have to.
There's no way he would have started as good as he did without sitting behind Rodgers. It would have taken
I
a
would
couple
agree with that.
years. The thing is new quarterback, you're going rebuild mode. You know, you're going to have a year, you're going to miss the playoffs, especially if you draft one. You know, you're going to miss the playoffs. So
Yeah.
if one came up, but there's no big names out there for free agency. You know, I'm not replacing Jared Goff with Sam Darnold. We saw what he did, and he's probably the biggest free agent quarterback there is. So it's just I told my dad it's just Goff had a bad game, and when he has a bad game, they're bad. They are really bad. So before we skip to Monday, we have to stay here. I think it's entirely, but we'll come back. We'll come back. Anything else on the game that I gotta say? The trick plays, love them. They're sweet. I love that we were emptying the clip. But if you're going to have JMO, who's probably the worst decision maker on that team, if you're going to have him throw the ball, you don't do it down, what were we down, 14 on the biggest drive where it's like, we got to get this crowd back into it, score a touchdown. We were marching. Gibbs was still averaging 10 yards a carry. That's the other thing. In what world do you see your defense letting them score at will and the drives are taking time and you don't try to milk clock and turn it into a last, or whoever gets ball last wins? That's what I would have done. I would have just ran Gibbs to the woodshed.
Yep.
He was averaging 10 yards a carry. He wasn't getting hit hard. He was going down careful. It's just the play calling, man. And then, Goff's having a bad game. Why are we just ripping pass plays? And then, then having JMO throw a football is just, how do you not, that trick play, they talk about all the time how they practice them quite a bit. How do you not hammer into his head? Dude, if it's not there, look to run. If that's not there, just throw the fucker into the stands.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what the point of stopping using Gibbs. Like, I fully understand that, like, Montgomery is your ground and pound power back, but like at that point, you didn't need power. You needed to get as many yards as you could, as many points as you could, as quick as possible. It didn't make any sense. And honestly, from a mostly unbiased fan watching that game, I said it was over in the third quarter.
Let me try to. I'm going to disagree on that one just because we did cut it 31-28 in the third.
When was the pick six?
The pick six was second quarter, 24-14, but then we came right back and had that JMO 61-yard rush a minute later.
I don't remember when it exactly was, but there was something right after half that I was like, oh, it's over. Well, not right after half, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know because we got the stop after half, then we scored. So then, and that was a 91-yard drive. So I was like, we're back in this. And then what happened after that Gibbs touchdown? Oh, the Commanders went on an 8.5-minute just punch you in your mouth drive. That was when they went up 10 with 13 left. I'm like, man, we need a touchdown on this drive. We didn't get it. They scored again. And that was the JMO pick, was the drive after the Brian Robinson second touchdown. So, yeah, the game was over when JMO threw that pick. And, I kind of just melted into my couch. Actually, I think of that, JMO threw the pick. I melted in the couch, sat there for a second, then migrated to the bed. But, I mean, you can't even say hell of a season because it's just so disappointing. The road was going to go through Detroit. We had good crowds. I haven't looked. I haven't been on social media, but I think I was listening to the radio, or maybe I saw TikTok. By the way, TikTok not being a thing Saturday night was really rough for me too. Yeah, TikTok's my before bed. I had to watch Instagram Reels, which sucks. It's ridiculous.
No, it was tough, 100%.
It was just everything was going bad for me. Saturday was a bad day. Sick, the Lions lose, TikTok's gone. It was so bad. By the way, we're at 49. Yeah. We're just gonna have to keep going. I mean, this is how it's gonna go. But anyways, that's your game recap. Yeah, the Lions outgained the Commanders by 40 yards, but 5 turnovers to 0 is just not gonna win you a football game. It did one time, and it was because your defense stepped up and played great, and they didn't. So
I will say, I don't have
thoughts or questions before we get to Monday.
I mean, it's hard to. I tweeted, I'm not gonna lie, from our account on Saturday night
I did see that.
I was going to be very toxic, and it's very hard to be toxic when you've coped already.
No, and I knew. So Saturday I was like, nah, I'm not fucking recording. Sunday I was like, I'm not fucking recording. Then Monday I was like, we're gonna record because I've got some shit to say about what happened on Monday. And now that I've like coped and settled, if we recorded on Sunday, we probably would have gotten into not a screaming. I told you I'm not gonna yell, but a back and forth. No, shut the fuck up, listen, and but I've coped and I've accepted. Like I'm not,
Which
I'm not a grass is greener guy. I'm not looking at the future. I mean, I've looked, but I'm still sad, depressed, disappointed. Disappointed is the best word there is. Just so much disappointment.
No, I was gonna say we haven't had one of those screaming ones in a while, and I kind of wish that we could have one of those because I think those are some of our best episodes, to be honest. But that's probably a good thing that we don't have them. I guess my coming from the lion hater inside of me, I'm glad that you're getting to experience this version. Last year it was like you guys were good, but you weren't necessarily expecting like Super Bowl.
No, last year was literally, I think I said a million times. Yeah, I think I said a million times on the podcast. I think I said just win a playoff game, first one in my lifetime. And then I was like, from there, I'm happy. And so last year I was happy. And I think I was way, way, way more depressed after the 49ers game, that episode, because that one felt like we're going to do this. We're going to go. And I'm going to get to talk about, that's the thing I kept thinking throughout that game. I'm like, I'm going to get to talk about the Lions playing in a Super Bowl for 2 weeks. And then we're going to get to recap it. And I'm going to get to watch it. And then if they win, so I did that whole thing. So I think that one,
but I mean,
this one hurt more, but I experienced hurt last year. So now I know how to deal with it. And it's just kind of like, it's just sports.
It's a different hurt this year because the expectations were up here. Where that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm glad you guys got to experience that because not to like come off as like cocky or anything, but that's what take out the last 2 years. That's what the last like decade of Packer. Well, I guess
you had a generational quarterback, and
like every year
you can do it.
Super Bowl or bust, Super Bowl or bust, right. Super Bowl or bust, and we just every year you bust. Pause. Yeah. But I mean, like, I will say I said all that in the group chat, and honestly, it's getting to the point Packers fans don't have much more to talk about. Yes, we do. We have a Super Bowl. We have a couple rings. We haven't done shit in 10 years.
Like, the only thing that you'll have is that the Lions fans that we're currently referring to would hang a banner of beat the Packers the last 4 or whatever it is, or 4 out of the last 5 or whatever. They would hang that, and it's just, I think that's not me. I like to talk the shit, and it's funny that I always have that above you, but you can always hit me back with okay, I've seen a Super Bowl. Do you know what that's like? No. So
I also will say I've never seen Twitter so anti-Lions, and granted, a lot of it was Packers fans, but also there were a lot of other fan bases that were speaking up on it too, and that's where I was like, all right, I gotta say something in this other chat.
The Lions Twitter, the one that I'm on, is mostly fine. Like your Tony D's, I follow this page called
that video.
I couldn't even watch the whole thing because I was like, I'm right there with you, brother. I watched the first 5 minutes. It also disappointing. He did the same thing as me. I'm probably disappointing anybody that's going to listen to this thinking I'm going to come in here and yell and scream. He did the same thing. He said, I don't have the energy to yell and scream. He's like, this is disappointing. And I watched the first 10 seconds and I was like, I'm right there with you, brother. But I follow this other page, Detroit Moments, same thing. But then you do see, Twitter's an algorithm
Woodward
thing.
Sports.
So you see,
Woodward Sports.
I fucking hate Woodward Sports. We can get into that another time. I can't stand those fuckers. And there's 2 reasons. But that's a whole nother thing. That's a 15-minute conversation. But let's
get into Monday.
yeah, my stuff is good, and then but I see the bad. You see we got bandwagoners that swore off the Lions and literally stopped watching, and then we're good again. I'm gonna hop back on, and they're insufferable because they're not humble. It's like you said, they're not humble. They didn't go through the shit. We had a couple shitty years. They left. They weren't there for Matt Patricia sucking dick. They weren't there for 10-1, and we're celebrating beating the Vikings like it's the Super Bowl. That was the peak of my Lions for a while when Amon-Ra caught that last second touchdown. Anyways, yep. Monday, worked all day, coped a little bit more, kind of talked to a couple people about it, not too many. My current boss, he doesn't watch football, so I think that's good though, because we would have talked all day and it would have been bad. So, or not current boss. I guess he's technically he's a consultant for us, if you want. I think that's what we're calling him. Anyways, so the news broke, and I went down, way down, because in my
the news is Ben Johnson got hired by the Bears. By the way,
Ben Johnson got hired by the Bears on Monday at 2:30 p.m., 3 p.m. Sucks that it's in division for one. We got to play him twice. Two, sucks that it's 2 days after the most depressing night of my life. Second most depressing night of my life. Third most depressing night of my life. Fourth. It's where was I going? I'm getting sidetracked. I gotta just splurge. In my stupid pea brain, a lot of this you're gonna remember. I said it in the group chat, but in my stupid pea brain, I convinced myself. I think I've said on here before. I think Ben Johnson has autism. And people with autism love things exactly the way they are. So I convinced myself in my stupid head that he would want to stay in Detroit because he's got an apartment or a house or whatever. He loves the city. He goes to the same donut shop every morning, whatever. He has the same meetings at these times. He meets with these players at these times. I thought he would keep it all the same. That was stupid. What coordinator wouldn't want to jump all over being a head coach, especially a coordinator that can go pick where he wants to be, and he can go to a team that's got a second-year quarterback loaded with weapons and a defense that's pretty okay. I should have seen that coming. But, yeah, there's two sides to this. It fucking drives me nuts that he was interviewing the week before our divisional round matchup. It pisses me off that coaches can get hired while there's games still happening. And this never happened to me before because it didn't matter. Lions were out of it. Their guys aren't even getting interviewed anyways. But now that it happens, we just lost this big game. You were interviewing last week, and you're telling me that you didn't have some numbers thrown at you. You're telling me they didn't say, would this sound good? And then it brings me back to Saturday. That dude's head couldn't have been fully in the game. He's thinking about Mike McCarthy snagging the Chicago job from him because Chicago's like, well, we can't wait. And Ben Johnson's like, well, fuck, I'm not. The conspiracy is that he threw the game so he could get the job before Mike McCarthy. I don't think that's true, especially if my autism take is somewhat true. He's not going to throw the game. Two, but subconsciously, he wasn't fully in that game. And if you go back and you look at the play calling, you look at like I said, run the ball. Nope, he's panicking, playing pass plays. Then he draws up this trick play with J-Mo. That's a panic play call. His head wasn't fully there. He panicked. He drew up a shit game. He called shit plays. I'm putting 70% of the blame on the NFL for allowing people to get hired when the season's not even over. It should be after the Super Bowl. I'm going to put 22% on Ben Johnson for his head not being in it. And then I'm going to put 5% of the blame on Jared Goff. I'm going to put 3% on 3% on the defense. So I
none on Dan Campbell.
I think that added up to 100. Dan Campbell didn't make any decisions that cost us the game. There was no fourth down call where it was like, oh, shit. I don't know. Maybe he was like, oh, run the J-Mo play. If he did, then he gets some blame. But
he did get outdanned.
It was 100%. And that's going to be the new NFL. It's going to be wild. It's fun to watch. I love it. I hate when it happens to me. But that's the new NFL, man. The amount of points that they drummed up off these fourth down conversions. Yeah, they missed the first one. That was a stupid play call. It would have worked to perfection if Brian Robinson wasn't stupid. But the amount of times that I think they added probably not 14. If you take, I think there was like two, it would have been 2 field goals. They ended up getting 14. That's 8 points. Now what are you? Now you win by 6 with those 2 field goals, but the Lions call things different because it's a closer game. That's going to be winning football. But it's not like last year where we had a couple fourth downs, we went for it, didn't get them. I think we got all of our fourth downs. No, yeah, we got all of them. Dan Campbell does get a little bit of blame. The 12 men on the field on the 4th and 2, it was a long 4th and 2. The entire sideline knew it. That place was rocking, so I'm not going to blame the players for not sending somebody off. But where's Dan Campbell there to see his entire sideline freaking the fuck out and to go, hey, timeout. I got 3 of them. Let me use one. Where was he? So we'll take one off of Jared Goff. He's down to 4. What was the rest? It was 3 on the defense. We'll bump the defense down to 2, and then Dan will get 2. We'll split Dan with the defense. The defense deserves more. Anyways, so Ben Johnson, really pissed at him. I don't fucking like the guy anymore. It sucks. He gave me 2 of the happiest years of my football fandom, but fucking pisses me off that he jumped as fast as he could. Don't blame him, but I'm fucking pissed that he did.
So I got 4 quick questions to wrap this up.
Let's go.
Dan Campbell, how much longer are we keeping him?
Infinite until we don't make the playoffs. If he Mike Tomlins the rest of his career, I'm going to convince myself that we're going to get one because of it. It's the mentality for me. Those players love to play for this guy, and I think it's going to drum up free agency interest. He infinite as long as we're winning games. And if we asterisk on the playoffs thing, if you have some crazy injuries on the offensive side, because we've seen that defense, it doesn't fucking matter. We can put out my high school JV team and we'll still win some games. But if you have those big offensive injuries, you get an asterisk, heaven forbid, knock on wood, a quarterback injury that ends the season, then you get some relief.
So then question 2, kind of leading off of that, probably has a follow-up question. Jared Goff, how much longer are we giving him?
Let me Google how old he is real quick. Google Jared
I think he's 31.
Goff, age 30. He turns 31 in October, so he'll be 31 next year. We'll say 3 on Goff because I think he's got 3 years on his deal. No, we just.
Then my follow-up is: are you drafting quarterback this year?
Next year.
Okay. Question.
Actually, your pick now is way lower than I was expecting before. I was looking in the 30s, late 20s. Now you're what? You're probably how many teams missed the playoffs? 20s. No, you're mid 20s. I think you're 24, 25. Well, how many teams were left?
There's 4 teams left.
4, 8. No, there was 8 last week though. So we could be mid 20s. How does that work? Is it records after that?
Probably.
So we're probably still late 20s. But
yeah.
This year, if Quinn Ewers is there, this year. Next year, if not. But
what about Hendon Hooker?
I heard that Ben Johnson is going to trade for Hendon Hooker. That was the rumblings I heard. But
backup QB.
Hendon Hooker's only like 2-3 years younger than Goff. So by the time Goff's gone, Hendon Hooker's not going to be shit. He's going to have no playing time. Hendon Hooker's going to be a career backup that everybody's like, man, what could he have been?
Yeah. Next question: when Aaron Glenn leaves, is he on the hate train with Ben Johnson? It's not if, it's when.
I'm gonna say no, because it wasn't as fast, and I'm not trying to say Ben Johnson didn't, but Aaron Glenn, in my eyes, has earned his head coaching opportunity tenfold over Ben Johnson with what he did with what we had. Ben Johnson still deserves him. He's apparently a whiz. You see the play calls, you see what the offense has done, but look at the weapons he's also had versus Aaron Glenn, who, Anzalone was not terrible with the Saints, but he was brought in as a bridge, and then he ended up being great. Hutchinson obviously molded into what he is because of Glenn. What he's done with cornerbacks who Amik Robertson out of nowhere. Carlton Davis had a bad year last year. I was looking at stats. He had a bad year last year, apparently. And then, just a defense full of, unknowns. And so Aaron Glenn has earned his crazy. So,
and then last question, since we still do have 3 more games to talk about, how much of a step back are the Lions taking next year by losing both coordinators?
It's going to depend on who gets filled. That's probably a follow-up question. I think I would love Robert Saleh as D coordinator. Haven't even begun to think about OC, but I would hope it's from within. Grab somebody from within that's seen it, that's been doing it, and can hopefully match or just barely decline off of Ben Johnson. That's what I hope. So, and then so that's your future outlook pretty much. I do have, before we get to the other games, we're gonna have to fly through those, but honestly, most of them we can. Something was thrown out to me by Papa Tubbs, and it's interesting. We had a back and forth, so let's try to make it quick. But I shit on him for it at first, but then I'm like, damn, that'd be really fucking cool. He said Joe Burrow, future Detroit Lion. And I was like, what? No fucking way. He's a career Bengal, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, dude, think about it. He goes, look what they did this year. He's like, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Did Jamar Chase get signed to a contract yet? We couldn't figure that out. No, he's still owed, isn't he?
I think
Joe
he
Burrow's
still
the only one
wants
who
an
got a fat contract.
extension.
Yeah, so T. Higgins, you say he's gone this year. Now you just got Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase eventually goes diva mode and says, get me the fuck out of here. And then Joe Burrow's sitting there with nothing. Maybe Cincinnati does the right thing and trades him. What do you think would take to acquire Joe Burrow?
A fuck ton.
That's what I said, but then I came up with something. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I said 3 firsts, 3 seconds. And then I said Cincinnati's cheap as fuck, so you throw them some cash. You take on the contract 100%. And then you need a player or two. I think I came up with what did I come up with? Rodrigo, who was the shitter, but he's fun. And then I said a wide receiver that we future draft and make look really
So
good.
how soon are you trying to put this into motion?
Higgins is gone this year. Chase stays. Chase leaves next year. Next 2 years. After 2 more seasons.
Okay.
Obviously, I see it as that is never going to fucking happen. Joe Burrow's one of those guys who don't trade until it's the end of his career. But
2 things by that point, Burrow's probably 28, which I
give
guess
me a
is still
28-year-old Joe Burrow over 34-year-old.
That's still
Jared
prime.
Goff.
And B, I think you'd set your team back so far at that point.
That would be the buy-in for a fucking Super Bowl, and pray to God you get one.
Yeah.
Pray to God the guy stays healthy, and pray to God you get one, because you're starting your 10-year rebuild when you make that trade.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so future outlook, not going to do that yet. We'll get into that later on, but not a good weekend, but solid conversation there. Sorry I wasn't more fired up and you couldn't be toxic, but it's hard to be toxic to a guy that sees it how it is.
20 minutes longer than we expected.
Figured it would. So let's fly then. Chiefs beat the Texans. Fuck the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, I've got one thought on this game and one thought only. Kyrie Fairbairn, choke artist. CJ Stroud, decent game, but not great, but it was cold. Patrick Mahomes, there needs to be a Patrick Mahomes clause in the roughing the passer penalties, roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness. There's got to be a Patrick Mahomes clause. You know how people, they name rules after people when they do shit? When he's fucking running around as a runner, you're a runner now. You can't fucking go down and then get a call. That shit was bullshit. He's running around behind his blockers, then he goes down. The flop out of bounds didn't get called. There needs to be a flop rule. There needs to be a flop rule.
Well,
and then the Will Anderson roughing, just not roughing. We need to be able to review that shit. Slow it down, look at it, and go, no, boom, undo. That needs to be a thing. They need to call it the Patty Mahomes rule or the State Farm rule. No, they'll think
I will say part of me doesn't blame Mahomes because he knows he's going to get the calls.
That's what I talked about last night exactly. I said, I can't blame the guy. It's smart as fuck. I would want my quarterback to do that if he could get those calls. But I hate it as an outsider who also hates Patrick Mahomes because he's so fucking good. It needs to be fixed. But if my quarterback could do it, I wouldn't be sitting here bitching. If I had Lamar who could do it, I'd say, man, will you start, doing some of that?
Yeah.
I don't blame the guy.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all I had on that game. they got their free agent out of the year in Travis Kelce for the playoffs. So
Yeah, that was a good grab. Rams Eagles. This game was a bit of a snoozer. And then the snow kicked
was
up.
fun. Yep.
Snow kicked up. That was cool. It was close to half. It was 13-10. And then the Eagles were kind of running away with it at the end. They were up. Were they up 16? They were up 2 scores, and then that was when Big Cat tweeted my pinky save for something. 28-15. There you go. That game was over, and then Matt Stafford drove down so fast. Then the Rams got the ball back, and so the end of the game,
70 yards in a minute and 48 seconds for the Rams.
It did, and that was when the snow was real bad. I believe it was snowing. Like, that was a vintage Matt Stafford snow game performance. Yep. It was cool. And yeah, the end of that game was fun. Saquon Barkley, awesome. Saquon deserves all the love from every running back ever because he's going to get running backs paid.
Yeah,
absolutely,
100%.
I mean, just the fact that dude was out there, and I don't know. I wish we could see the offers he got, but the Eagles truly.
Giants, you fucked up
with that one. I'm glad he got out of New York.
Is, if the Giants had him, the Giants wouldn't be
wouldn't
good.
Change shit. No, it wouldn't change shit because
they'd be
having
fun,
just a running back doesn't work. You got to have at least a receiver and a quarterback that can get it to him, and let alone AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So that way you open it up for Saquon, and especially you got a running quarterback like Jalen Hurts. Now it really opens up for Saquon. And yeah, when he busts those loose, oh man, that 78-yard touchdown, he's fun to watch. He's fun to watch. But yeah, like once again, like it felt like the Eagles dominated that game, and it ended up close. Like they choke in the fourth.
I think they played down to talent, not down to talent, down to their opponents.
Now we got Eagles Commanders NFC Championship, which I'm gonna retract out of my Lions just lost and could have been in this game. Eagles Commanders divisional game for the championship is sweet, and it's also they've played twice. They were both 1-score games, and they split. That's awesome. It is this game could go either way. The Eagles could steadily win it, or the Commanders can get feisty. It can be back and forth, or the Commanders can go out there and just shit on them. You know, it can go both ways. So it just depends on the Eagles' game plan. Are they going to try to throw the ball out with Hurts, who not a very good thrower, if you ask me? Then
not recently,
I think,
at least.
But if they, with the way Gibbs ran against the Commanders, the Eagles got to be going Saquon. You're getting 30 touches, and they'll win that game, no problem. So, and then Ravens-Bills. This was, for me, game of the weekend. I know a lot of people saw Lions Commanders and thought it was a phenomenal game, fun to watch. I know you obviously loved it because you're hating. But this game,
this is the best hate watch of the year, to be honest.
This game was back and forth. It felt like the Ravens' first drive there, they were going to run away with it. I did have Ravens money line. And then Josh Allen is just Josh Allen. It came down to the wire. Mark Andrews dropped the tie game 2-point conversion. I will say there was a lot of time on that clock, and I think Josh Allen could have drove down and got the field goal.
The other thing, too, I don't know if I sent this in our Twitter group chat or not. They run that same 2-point conversion play every single time.
Do they? With Mark Andrews?
They roll out to the right, and they throw it to either the receiver or the tight end on that side every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I get it would have worked here. It should have worked here.
Should have, yeah. He fell into the end zone, and it just...
But you got to have something else. I don't know.
Also...
But you have Derrick Henry.
Just run it up the middle.
2 yards. That's what I just said. Yeah.
What was I going to say? What did Derrick Henry have? 84 yards and a touchdown? I'm going to try to look at...
He's like 86.
Let's see. So, yeah, 7-7. It was 21-10 at half. And the Ravens came out in the third and dominated. They didn't get that 2-point conversion. Imagine if they did. That would have been crazy. And then, yeah, fourth quarter, Bills did just enough. They got the stop when they needed it. How many yards did Lamar rush for?
39.
39, okay. I always look. the betting mind of mine. I'm like, how many people threw Lamar in their parlays 40 plus at like minus 200 as a leg, and now they're pissed. Yeah. This was the game of the weekend. It was just back and forth, and actually, you know what? It kind of wasn't back and forth. Though now I'm looking at it. Bills went up 14-10. Ravens cut it, or Bills went up 14-7. Ravens got a field goal 14-10. Josh Allen scored right at the end of the half there, 21-10. And then the Ravens came out, kicked the field goal. Their defense was firing touchdowns. So then it was back and forth. The fourth quarter was awesome. So
I think you see Mark Andrews and Justin Tucker not on the Ravens next year.
I completely agree with that. Did you see what Des Bryant tweeted? I saw that on SportsCenter today. He said Mark Andrews going to get cut, and then he's like, "What happened to the last Ravens wide receiver, or what happened to the last Ravens receiver that dropped a ball that could have got him to the Super Bowl?" And it was Des Bryant, and they cut him. So, we got to find a way, seeding wise, where the Chiefs have to play these teams in the divisional, so we can get Ravens Bills conference championship. Have to. Give me.
The problem is
Ravens.
the Chiefs floor is the AFC championship. Like,
no, I know. Last
until
7 years
Mahomes isn't in it.
Yeah. No, so here's what we're going to do next year. You ready for this? I wish we could write this down and remember to look at it, but Ravens versus the Bengals in the divisional. That would be a really fun game. That way we get Bengals or Ravens in the championship. Don't care which one. Probably the Bengals because Lamar can't win the divisional. No, they went to the conference championship last year, didn't they? Yeah, they did because our Ravens-Niners future. And then Bills-Chiefs. Bills beat the Chiefs. Boom. Next year, Bills to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side, the Lions are going to get the first ever bye to the Super Bowl because they're going to go undefeated, and the NFL is going to have a new clause where the Lions don't have to play playoff games until the Super Bowl. And then
that's
we're going to be
crazy. You have to beat the Packers twice.
Listen, buddy, you got to beat me once before I even give
us
you any
with T.
sort of
Higgins
salt.
next year, and Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. So
I do have a strong inkling the Lions are going to make a splash on a D lineman, and I hope it's Crosby or Parsons.
I don't know. He took the Commanders this week.
I hope we don't just call it.
He did pick the Commanders.
Who, Crosby?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. He's doing that because he doesn't want people to know he likes Detroit. He's coming home. Actually, not coming home, by the way. He's from Texas, I found out. I thought he was like born and raised in Michigan. He lived in Texas, and he played at stadiums bigger than the ones he played at Eastern. Crazy.
Just lying.
So yeah, quick picks. I'm gonna go Bills Eagles Super Bowl.
I'm going Chiefs Eagles for two reasons. One, the colors.
Chalk. Oh, yeah. Does it match the colors? I mean,
fair, but the colors are red and green.
Fucking
and then, I mean, I would love to take the Commanders and have Commanders Chiefs, and then be able to hedge with the Commanders. But
that'd be an easy hedge.
But also, I have zero hope in the Commanders beating the Chiefs in the playoffs, especially in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
at least if it was Chiefs Eagles, I think see the Eagles winning that game. So,
who's favored, Chiefs or Eagles, if they play?
Chiefs. It's probably.
I think the Chiefs, but I think it's close. I think it's one or two.
It's probably like two because they're 2-point favorites on the Bills this week, which is kind of surprising. So I'd probably put it at Chiefs -1.
Yeah, Bills +2 is a nuke. All right, real quick, Super Bowl reflection. So I had Lions Bills, RIP. Still the Bills though. You had Packers Ravens. You're dead. Paige had Ravens Lions. She's dead as well, but she did say or Chiefs versus Eagles. So congratulations, you took two of the favorable matchups, I guess. I got a shit on Paige any chance I get because she beat me in picks. I'm still salty about it. But yeah, Chiefs and Eagles. Wow, crazy. Let me pick the Super Bowl rematch with probably two of the three favorites for the Super Bowl. Yeah. Why don't you throw in Chiefs versus Eagles or Lions? Anyways, I'm just fucking around. But that's going to do it. Thanks for listening to the long one. I got my thoughts out there. That was good. I do think coming weeks will reflect even more and we'll have more things to say. I'm big into writing down my thoughts currently. Not thoughts, but I'm writing down a lot more with my new position in training. So maybe I'll make an effort to write down my Lions thoughts. No, not even a diary, just like note taking at work. So maybe I'll note take my Lions thoughts in the coming weeks. Then we can kind of reflect, you know. Yeah, so that's going to do it. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. Let's hit some tanks, door some tutties, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.